Insane, you make me crazy, insane, that's how I feel, insane, you make me crazy, insane, that's how I feel.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Dysfunction Junction. Thanks you guys so much for coming back to listen to. This is episode 9. I hope you guys had a good week. I did as good as any dysfunctional week can be. This weekend is Easter Sunday. Whoop whoop, put it up for Jesus and the Easter Bunny. You know, for those who don't celebrate Easter to celebrate the Lord rising, but instead to enjoy some good old Easter eggs and some Easter candy. By the time you guys hear this, Easter will be over. And you know what else will be over? My birthday. That's right, ladies and gents. This Friday was my birthday. I turned 44. I never thought ever that I would be 44. Ever. You know, I remember when my mom was 44. She was working on her, second grandkid. But by the time she was my age. And I have a 3-year-old at 44 years old. It's crazy. It's just so freaking crazy. I can't believe it. And I mean, I keep wanting to say I don't feel 44, but what's 44 supposed to feel like? I still feel the exact same way I did when I was, 18. I'm not as stupid. Mentally, I feel better, but I mean, I just feel the same. I feel like I could do anything that I would have done when I was 18 years old. So, but the one thing, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought here. It's my ADHD. 44 is really close to 50 for me. And it's just not cool. It's kind of gross, TBH. Because I remember looking back at my mom when she was in her 40s, and she just seemed so old to me. And I can't say, I'm not saying like she looked old or anything like that. That's I can't even explain it. I can't even put it into words, but she just looked, I guess because she was my mom and she was an authoritarian, that I just looked at her like she was this big presence, and I don't feel that way. I can't explain it. She just seemed like an old person. And I ask my kids, what they think, and they tell me all the time, you don't look old to me, Mom. You don't seem like you're in your 40s, or you're actually, it's funny because with my oldest son, I'm the youngest mom out of all his friends, because he's the oldest child compared to his friends, who are, most of them are the youngest child. So all of their parents are older, and I'm the youngest one. But with Piper's friends, I'm the old one, and all of her her friends' moms are the young ones. It's very weird. Jared, he's stuck in the middle. We're all about the same there. Sorry, pausing for a coffee break. I got a long night. Easter Bunny's coming, and I don't want it to be like the Tooth Fairy, where I have to leave a little note because the Tooth Fairy forgot to come and collect the tooth. I don't think it's going to work if the Easter Bunny leaves a note and says, sorry, I got lost and I just couldn't find your house, and before too long it was late, and then I just didn't have time to fill the baskets, and then the old Mrs. is at home, and she's texting me, and she's wondering why I'm so late, and I just couldn't, man. I'm sorry. I'll get back to you next year. Next year I'll give you 2 baskets, but I just didn't have time. I don't think they're gonna go for that. So I gotta stay up a little late tonight. So, and that's another thing. My kids are well, I shouldn't say that. Of course, the two older boys, I mean, they're 20 and 17. They don't believe in the Easter Bunny or Santa or Tooth Fairy or any of that. But my daughter, she's right at that, kind of weird age. She's 11. And I know we have to tell her soon. And I think she kind of knows, but she hasn't said anything. She doesn't want to know. Because when my 17-year-old started doubting Santa, and this was like, he was still in 8th grade, and he was insisting Santa was real. But I think that was more of an Aspie thing going on, because he was like saying, no, I don't care. Santa's real. Right, Mom? Right? Yes, honey, he is. Okay, good. Because I just, I can't handle that right now. So, but with Piper, tonight she says, Mom, you guys put stuff in our baskets too? And I said, no. And she looked at me really funny. She was like, what? Wait a minute. Are you kidding? And I'm like, no. We do. We put stuff in your basket too. And she's like, good. Because if you were going to tell me that the Easter Bunny wasn't real, I was going to start crying. So I don't know what to do. Because when I told her that the Tooth Fairy wasn't real, oh my God, she cried. She literally was bawling her eyes out. The two older boys, didn't do that. But she cried. She was upset. But I have to tell her at some point, I think she kind of knows, but she just doesn't want to accept it. She's not ready. And that's fine. That's fine. But I can't let her be. I mean, I know Jared was in 7th and 8th grade saying, he's real. I know he's real. I doubt he was at school saying, oh, no, he's real. I'm sure he probably just was like, oh, yeah, I know he's not real. But, I let my mom think I think he's real, But she was really upset, and I felt bad. So, anyway, back to getting old. One thing about getting old is that, how can I say? Okay, let me go back. It's my ADHD, man. I can't help it. I bounce all over the place. People say, I should probably edit that out. The ums, the ahs, where was I? But I'm not, because that's not me. This is me. I'm the person where I'm just all over the place and I forget what I'm doing, and I backtrack and I stumble and I fall, and so that's me. So hopefully you guys can handle that and you guys will keep listening. If not, then you'll go listen to NPR or something, because that's not me. So let me focus. Let me try to focus. I do write a little bit of this stuff out, because otherwise I would be all over the place and we'd have we'd get nowhere. So let me refocus. What I was going to say was, it's not so much the getting old that bothers me. It's the things that happen to you when you get old. I guess it's not so much the number, but when I look in the mirror and I see wrinkles on my face, that kind of bothers me. And sometimes I wish I was one of those biatches on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or Atlanta or whatever, that I could just go and get a little something in my forehead or in my cheek, and I'll look good as new. But unfortunately, I can't afford that. I mean, hell, I'm begging y'all for $1 a month just so I can afford a coffee from Cumberland Farms. I wonder if I could increase my Patreon page to do $20 a month. I wonder if that would fulfill my Botox need. I don't know. Anyway, something to think about. But the other really sucky thing about being in your 40s is that now you're premenopausal. At least I'm not yet. But some of my friends have started with the hot flashes and the cold sweats and the lack of sex drive and the crazy hormones. Well, wait, back up. Crazy hormone thing? Yeah, I'm there. But I've always kind of been there. I've always kind of been all over the place in the wacky mental department. But hey, that's what makes me special. It does. But another thing that scares me about getting older is that I don't want to act old. I don't want to reach a certain age and feel like my life is over. Like it's time for me to just sit down in a chair and start knitting. Like my mom. Okay, my mother, I love you very much. I know you are faithful in listening to me, so please don't be upset with me. P.S. My birthday gift was lovely. She made it herself. It was awesome. I'm going to post some pictures of it, and I will put it on the show notes. She's lovely, okay? But the minute she turned like 50 years old, a lazy boy chair grew out of her butt. And that's what she says. You know, I don't want to do that. I love you, Mom. I do. But you have to admit that chair is your best friend. Just saying. I don't want to do that. I still want to be out, being active, going on hikes, going swimming, going out to events. You know, I want to be the type of grandma, okay? Which, by the way, I am looking forward to that. I want to be the grandma that my grandkids are embarrassed to be with because I am in sexy clothes chasing down the young bucks that are, at the nightclubs. That's me. That's who I want to be. I don't want to be knitting in a lazy boy. I don't want to do that. I want to have fun. I want to live my life. And God willing, my husband will die before me so that I can have a break. Okay? Those are my goals right now. So, there. I've said it. Don't judge me. Oh my God, speaking of grandparents, I know that, look, I'm 44 years old and I have friends who are already grandparents. And that could have been me. But thank God I don't have any grandbabies yet. But it is really sad that my uncle is 3 years older than me and his wife is 11 months older than me. And they have a grandchild. Their grandchild, I think, is a year younger than my youngest child. Isn't that nuts? I think I've said nuts a lot this episode. Oh, else. What else do they want to talk about? I know, it's so crazy. You know, I do look forward to being a grandparent someday. I really do. But I want to be an involved grandparent. You know, I don't want to just be the grandparent that shows up for, holidays like Easter or birthdays or Christmas. I want to be involved in my grandkids' lives. You know, I have a girlfriend who takes her grandkids every weekend. Every Saturday night, she takes her grandkids overnight. Every weekend. I don't know if I can be that committed because, like I said, after my husband kicks the bucket, I'm going to be out at the nightclubs, looking for some young stud, and he's not going to want kids. So it can't be every weekend. But, having my grandkids often would be nice. I hope that I can be the grandparent that, takes my grandkids all the time, helps out my kids when they need a break or whatever. I want to be that type of grandparent. I really do. I want them to come to my house. I want to fill them full of crap. And then I'm going to let them take a late nap. So when their parents come to pick them up, they're up all night. Won't that be awesome? I'm very looking forward to it. It's my payback. Ding, 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 ding. Oh my God, you guys. So it has been, let's see. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is that Caden has had some really, really tough times this week. This is why I keep going back to the spectrum of him being on the spectrum. I mean, he's had like 4 or 5 meltdowns a day over the past 3 to 4 days. And they're terrible. It hurts me. It really does hurt me to see him, going through this. Now, I'm not really sure. Maybe a lot of people don't understand what a quote-unquote meltdown is. And I'm sure you've seen them in the stores. The kids are on the ground. They're kicking. They're screaming. They're crying. And lots of times it's just, a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old having a fit and just not getting what they want. They're having a tantrum for whatever whatever their reason is. But I don't think that's the case for Caden. I mean, because it's little things that just set him off. And sometimes it'll bother him. Like if I tell him, like, he can't help with the dishes. Today it was, one of the meltdowns was about we were going to dye Easter eggs. And he wanted to help me prepare the stuff to dye the Easter eggs. This year we got the Easter egg stuff that you just put the dye in a Ziploc bag with some rice, which, by the way, I think we're going to do this again because it was super easy, super fast, no muss, no fuss. I mean, it was awesome. But he couldn't understand that even though he couldn't help me get the stuff ready for the dyeing, the eggs, but he would still dye the eggs when I was done. He just didn't understand. He couldn't separate the two. So he was, and this is not an exaggeration, and someday I would really like to record it. And it's not because I'm making fun of him, but it would be because to help other parents out there that are experiencing it, that let you know that you are not alone. And it really does make you feel like, I don't want to say like a bad parent, but you feel hopeless. You really do. And that's really hard to feel as a parent, because as a parent, you're supposed to have all the answers. And when you don't have the answer, that's scary. It really is. It's a very scary thought that you cannot help your child. You can't help them. You can't comfort them. You can't get through to them. It's like this wall that it's like it's not even a clear wall. It's this big black wall that's right in front of their face, and they can't see you and they can't hear you, and they're scared, and they feel alone, and it just gets worse, and it builds. And with Caden, he gets very violent. He's hitting, he's kicking. He will start. He was so upset. He pushed the chair down. He went and grabbed something that had soda in it or juice or whatever, dumped it on the floor, picked up the dog food bowl and threw it across the room. He was trying to get trash out of the trash bag, and he ran down. And lots of times, sometimes when he gets like that, you have to stop him, you have to hold him, because he's completely out of control. And it happens so fast. My husband calls him the Tasmanian devil. I mean, that's how quickly he is. And so by the time, I've put down what I've done and I'm trying to pick up the carnage left behind him, he's heading down towards my room, and I'm like, oh no, you want to break your stuff? You break your stuff. You ain't breaking my stuff. So I get him, finally get down here, and you put him in his room, and you hear him just going nuts in there, and he's crying and crying. I mean, he's like, from the depths of his soul, he is crying and bawling, and just with everything that he has inside of him. And it kills me. It absolutely kills me, because I know we can't help it, but you feel like a failure as a parent. Imagine your child going through this, and you're out in public, and other parents are staring at you, and they're like, why don't they do anything? Man, if that was my kid, I'd kick that kid's butt. I'd give him a spanking. He wouldn't be doing that to me, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, we've tried. And I'm not saying, look, I'm not a big fan of, beating your kids or anything like that, but I am not opposed. If you got to swat your kid's butt when they're out of control just to get them to snap out of it, get to swatting. I am not against that. All right. But we've tried that, and it doesn't faze him. It doesn't faze him. And that's why I think that he's on the spectrum, because we've swatted his butt. We've put him in his room. We've put him in timeout. It doesn't work. He looks at he looks at you, and he laughs at you. He's laughing at you. While he's in timeout, he's kicking you. He's spitting at you. And I've tapped his mouth when he spits. I've tapped his mouth when he swears. I've put him in his room. I've given him a spanking. We've done the timeout. I mean, there's nothing else left to do. So it's not that we don't try. We do. For those of you listening, when you see a parent going through this with their child, you should be a little bit more compassionate and a lot less judgmental, because these parents are doing everything they can. And there's nothing else that they can do. It really can't. All they can do is love their child. And then when he's done and he's in whatever he's going through, he's coming out of whatever whirlwind he was in, and can I have a hug? I need a hug, Mama. Because when he's going through this, when you're trying to hold him and contain him, just the touch of your hands on his body is so painful for him. Because at this point, every sense, all of his senses are alive. Touch, sound, smell, taste, everything is magnified times 100. So think about that. Think about that the next time you see a little tiny child that's having a meltdown like that. You imagine that you're in a room and the light is so bright and the sound is so loud. I mean, would you be able to focus if that was happening to you? And just the slight brush of somebody walking by you was so painful that you couldn't stand it. Think of that as an adult. And the smells that are coming at you, so you can't see, it's so loud you can't hear. The smell is just horrendous. The thought of even your clothes on your body hurt you. How would you feel as an adult? And you couldn't get out, and there's nothing you can do. And that's what he goes through every single day. Now, we have early intervention, and hopefully, like I said, even Jared, when he was little, the sound of the fire alarm, when he knew that there was going to be a fire alarm the next day, he'd basically want to stay home. He would have such anxiety. I don't want to go to school. They're going to have a fire drill. It really hurts my ear. He would really upset him. He was terrified of the fire drill. Finally, he had to have headphones on for a while because it bothered him so much. It is painful. I had to cut all the tags out of his shirts because he couldn't handle it. It was too scratchy. It was too itchy. He couldn't handle it. He would bend. I would cut all the tags out of his shirts. I could only buy certain socks because if the sock had a line over the toes, he couldn't handle it. He'd put his shirt on every day, and he would bend over. And if his shirt showed too much of his back, he couldn't wear it because it was uncomfortable. We're talking about wearing the same pants every single day because by the third or fourth day, they're finally comfortable. They finally feel good. So I just ask that you cut some of these parents a break. Yes, there are some parents out there that are just really crappy parents, but most of us are really just trying to get through the day. And if you know somebody who is struggling like this and could really use a break, you need to call them and ask them, what can I do? Because those parents need a break. They really do. They love their kid and they want to get them all the help they can, but they're human beings and they can only take so much. And just like everybody else in this world, they get tired and they get overwhelmed. But I think that it's a little bit more magnified for people who deal with their children with special needs. So that's it. That is my rant for today. Oh, I think that might be my only rant. Let's see how much time. 24 minutes. I have something else that I wanted to talk to you about too. So I'm going to try to fit it in. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than 30 minutes. But hopefully you guys don't mind. So another thing that I wanted to touch base on today was my oldest son. He is 20 years old. He is in his second year of college, and I am beyond proud of him. He's amazeballs. He is an openly gay man. He is a very proud gay man, which makes me a very proud mother of a gay man. And he came out to us when he was in 9th grade. I will tell that story another day, but from, the moment he told us, we were very, accepting. Did I say that, and again, I will get into this at some other time. There is kind of a mourning period when your child tells you that they're gay. And it's not because they're gay, but it's because, at least for me, the vision that you had for your child changes, and that's sad. That's a little sad. And then you think of the fears that they're going to go through as a gay person, because let's face it, this world sucks ass, and people can be cruel, and you hear the horror stories all the time of people being targeted simply because of their sexuality. And I'm afraid. I'm very afraid for my son. And he told me, and this is a perfect example of that. Him and a couple of his girlfriends went to a Lives Matter march at his college. He said it was a really good turnout, bigger than he thought it would be. The protest, or I guess you can call it a protest, but it went really well. They had some good speakers, and he thought it was, he was really impressed with it. And as the three of them were leaving, now let me tell you, my son goes to supposed to be a very liberal college, very accepting, very open. They don't have a problem with boys and girls rooming together as long as they're not dating. His first roommate that he had was a transgender, from girl to boy, and they didn't work out, not because they weren't transgender, they just didn't have anything in common. He was into video games and Transformers, and Noah's into Hamilton. It just didn't work out, At the time, it was Hamilton. I don't think he digs that anymore. But anyway, they're walking back, and this white gentleman approaches them and begins to attack them verbally attack them with derogatory slurs. My son said he had a gun on his side and made it very well known that he had a gun. He kept exposing it to them, pulling his coat back, putting his hand on the gun, and intimidating them simply because, number one, they were alone. Number two, one of his friends was African American. Number three, his other friend was transgender, and because he was gay. Now, this is supposed to be a liberal town, very accepting, very open to the differences in the world today. And I was so excited that my son was going to the school. I thought he's going to be safe there. They're going to accept him. They're going to love him. They're going to protect him. And it just goes to show you that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you come from a small town or you come from a big city. It doesn't matter. There are assholes everywhere. Excuse my language. Please forgive me. But there are mean, cruel people everywhere you go. And even though it's 2018, there are still very close-minded people. My son and his friends were doing nothing but walking back from a protest about gun control. You know, and whether you're I can't even think of the word, whether what you think is different from what my son thinks, that does not give you the right to speak to him the way he was spoken to or to intimidate him in any way. He did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And this is why I'm scared. That my son is simply walking down the road and he's being attacked verbally. So hold on one second. I think I just heard my son fall. I think my husband got it. Sorry. I was in a very powerful speech and my son fell off the bed. My other son, my little baby son. Anyway, Big Daddy's got it. Anyway, I love my son. I am a proud mother of a gay child. Okay? And I'm sure there are people out there who are thinking, but you're a Christian. How can you be so accepting? You know why? Because my God doesn't make mistakes. And I truly believe that he was born the way he is. And I know that there are Christians out there that will disagree with me, but I also know that there are more Christians than you think that will agree with me. We as Christians are not supposed to judge people. We are taught first and foremost that we are supposed to love each other. And I absolutely love my son. And I am proud of him. And damn it, if my son chooses to get married, then you better believe that my son and his husband is going to be my cover photo on Facebook. And if nobody likes it, they can suck it. Suck it! I'm not kidding. I will be at that wedding. I will be in the front row. I will walk him down the aisle. I don't care. I'm proud of him. I love him. And he is going to do good things in this world. So, and all you people who are so close-minded to somebody being different than you, like I've said before, you're missing out on some great people. You really are. So, if my son chooses to adopt a little girl from China, please God, let this happen. Please God. Then I am going to spoil that little girl. I'm going to stuff her full of candy, let her take long naps, and then let her go home to her daddies and let them be up for the rest of the night taking care of that kid, and then cursing me out for the other half of the night because I let her sleep late. And I gave her cookies for breakfast. And I gave her soda with her lunch. And I won't care, and I'll do it again. All right, I think I'm done. I really do. I need to buy my kids some mace. Either that, or I can send Caden with him. And there's no one getting past that tornado. Nope. No way, no how, no can do. Not gonna happen. All right, my little lover boys and girls. I know I'm trying to find my what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm trying to find my words, my script. That's the word I'm looking for. God, this ending really sucks. I had a really powerful speech. It was wonderful. And then I suck at closing it out. Anyway. Oh, well. You guys can suck it too. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm so glad that you guys came back and listened. I really, really am. Please be sure to follow us on all of our social media pages. You can connect with us on Facebook at facebook.com/dysfuncjunk7. And of course, on our Facebook group page at facebook.com/groups/DF podcast. That's D as in dog, F as in Frank, podcast. If you prefer Twitter, you can find us at twitter.com/dysfuncjunkmom. And for all you Instagram peeps, you can look us up at instagram.com/dysfuncjunk7. And of course, let's see where else. If you can also go to the website www.dfpodcast.com. That's D as in dog, F as in Frank, podcast.com, and there you'll get the show notes. You can find links that I talk about in the show, pictures, all that cool jazz. And at last, but certainly not least, please help a mom out. If you like what you hear and you want to hear more, it is free for you, but it is not free for me. If you would like to give me $1 every month, I would really appreciate it. Because I have 5 kids, okay? And my husband makes 6 kids, and I'm tired, and I have to stay up late, and I need coffee, okay? And I need help. So if you want to give $1 a month, that'd be cool. If you want to give a little bit more than that, that would be cool too. You'll get access to a bunch of really cool stuff over there, and it's only available there. So check us out at patreon.com/dysfunctionjunction. And I hope you guys all have a very good week. I hope you had a lovely Easter, and I will talk to you guys all real soon. Insane. Thanks, guys.
You
Peace.
make me crazy, insane. That's how I feel. Insane. You make me crazy, insane. That's how I feel.